breathe. What a luxury that is to be able to do at this time of year. Breathe. What a gift to center ourselves in and as peace. True peace. Nothing to do. No agenda. Last week, we lit the first candle for faith. The assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. And that is an essential foundation for what we're building here in this Advent season. The consciousness, the Christ consciousness, getting ready for the birth of Christ in our being. Right? That consciousness, you might call it Buddha consciousness, you might call it Krishna consciousness, you might call it just peace consciousness. But faith, understanding that this is happening, this can happen, that what we long for, hope for, and can't see yet, is at hand, in the midst of us, between us all. That is essential. As we light the second candle, we light it for peace. And peace is this term we toss about all the time. You might have remembered the old, beauty pageants, and everyone, when they're asked their question, would say, what do you want most? World peace. I want to work for world peace in an evening gown. That's my job, right? And we can laugh because of the absurdity of it, but also the inner desire that we all want for this external thing, world peace, right? But Gandhi said a long time ago, he said that peace is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to cope with it. And when you think about that, even if there was no violence in the world, if all wars were to cease in this moment, in this second, would there be peace? People would still pass away. The ones we love would leave. Marriages would still end. Children would leave the home or disobey you. Right? Jobs would change, end. Careers come to an abrupt end. Things would happen in the financial markets and in the world. And would we be at peace? Is peace something that's just external? I think we all know the answer, of course, is of course not. But we as humans, and I'm in this, always seem to project it onto others. Well, if they'd only do it that way, if they'd only stop doing what they're doing, the world could be at peace. Presidents will come and go, thank God. And we can be at peace in the midst of where we are today. So Byron Katie has, and you may have heard, Byron Katie has quoted this businesses, three ways you can be in business, and Martha Creek talks about it here too. So you may be familiar with him. The first one, of course, is you're in my business. I'm in my business. It's my job to be peaceful. It's my job to make sure my side of the street is cleaned up. It's my job to stay prayed up. It's my job to be kind. Right? So when I'm in my business, I get to be at peace because I know what I'm responsible for. Right? When you're in your own business, you get to operate in the world serenely because you're working from the place that knows that you have your agenda and there's nothing else to be done. Right? Then there's their business. So how often do we stay in other people's business? Right? So, God, If only Toby would do. I'm looking at JD because we both do it together. If only my children would come to church. If only they could hear this message. If only that person didn't say that way. I wish he didn't. I wish my father was. Right? I wish other people's business. And there's no peace in that. Have you noticed? There is no peace when you're in other people's business. I would love to tell Mark how to play the guitar. Not my business. He plays it beautifully, and it's so wonderful to have it here. I get to just sit and enjoy it, right? Their business. When we can stay in our lane, we can stay in peace. Ow. I want this to be different. I stay in my lane. And the third is God's business. Now, you may not like the term God, so pick something else. Universe's business, Spirit's business, right? Divine order, whatever you want, put it in there. But the business that knows that the little me that has an opinion about what other people should do, an opinion about how the world should be run, is just that. It's the little me. It's not the expansive me. It's not the divine me that knows that everything is in divine order. And that I can't know what's best for you. I can't. I have no idea, really, what's going on in your mind, what your life experience has been, what your reason for the choices you're making are. And for me to stand there and judge and say, well, you shouldn't do that way, that's causing all your problems, is arrogant. I really do know from my time on the planet that people are choosing everything they're choosing for a good reason. Now, that doesn't mean that they may not shift it when they become aware of another way. But it's not mine to tell them. And God's got it. Got this? God, whatever that is for you, that universal energy, that power, the universe, all of it, has it. We don't have to fix it, right? We don't have to personally do it. That's why we light the candle for faith first. To understand that when we step into peace, that the universal power, that one power we speak of here often, is just as much at work in each and every individual, even the ones we don't like. Even the people that drive us crazy, God is at work in them, and they're doing what they're doing for a valid reason. When we can stay out of other people's business and out of God's business, we can live in peace and serenity. Now, I didn't know this. It's not something I knew growing up. It's not something I was taught in my school, in my upbringing. And I learned it the hard way. I learned it with my life falling apart because I was so in other people's business and in God's business and trying to manipulate everything. I've told many of you before, but if you haven't, I'm in a 12-step program, and it wasn't because my life was going really well that I had to surrender. Nothing I was doing was working, and the people that I love were scared to death for me, for my life. And that 12-step program taught me many things. And one of them was this, that serenity is an important thing to have. It's a really important thing to have. And that it's an inside job. In the AA Big Book, this is their scripture. Page 117 of the Big Book of Alcoholics, 417 of the Big Books of Alcoholics Anonymous. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, or thing, or situation, some fact of my life, unacceptable to me. So disturbed, I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm pissed off, I'm furious because something or someone is unacceptable. And I get all turned about. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, that place, that thing, that situation is being exactly as it's supposed to be in that moment. So, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Right? Do you want to be right? Do you want to sit there in your anger, in your resentment, seething? Or do you want to be happy? More than happy, serene. It goes on. This quote goes on to say, unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as what needs to be changed in me and my attitudes. And that's why not everybody joins a 12-step program. Because it ain't easy. It ain't easy. We're held to account to stay out of other people's business and to accept life completely on life's terms. That person died. That person left. That job went away. That situation is not what I want it to be. And yet, I am at peace. I am serene, and I need to do nothing, eat nothing, take nothing, shift nothing, rage against no one, because a life is happening on life's terms. So peace. Peace can be the lens through which we look at the world, through which we view the world. What if our default was peace? Now, how do we do that? How do we be of this world, walk out of this room, as one of my first ministers, Carlos Wayne Anderson, used to always say, you get no points for being nice to people in here. It's easy. We're all nice here on Sunday morning. We're all feeling good. We've got the great music. We've got the prayers. It's when we step out of this door and we get into that traffic on Page Street. It's when we walk up the street. It's when we get home. It's when we get to work tomorrow morning. It's when we get back into the grind that we have to put on the lens of peace. So the first step in doing that is to examine your thoughts. Examine whose business are you in, right? It's that simple. When you find yourself disturbed, when you find yourself stirred up, whose business are you in? Are you in theirs? Are you in God's? It shouldn't have rained today. Really. It should have rained today. We can go either way here, right? We're not in that business. Right? They shouldn't do that. I'm not in that business. That's not the choice I would make. But I'm not in their business. That's the first thing. Just be aware. Aware of whose business you're in. Examine your thoughts. And then inhabit serenity. Now, I purposely put this way because it's an active process to inhabit serenity. We can passively say, well, I wouldn't have made that choice, right? I would have done it differently. But that's not serenity. That's judgment still, with this spiritual bypass of I'm a spiritual person, I won't say anything, right? I'll just keep my mouth shut and look sideways. We all know church ladies who do that, and church men, and preachers. Let's call it preachers who do that. Serenity, inhabiting serenity, is to actively seek love in the situation. Right? Actively seek to open your heart and be loving. Just to be loving, not to fix, not to change, not to do anything but the presence of your love, your serenity influence the situation. That is an active hard lift, but it's worth developing the muscle to live serene. And then you get to radiate peace because you are it. You've built the muscle, and then it's easy. I get to walk into any situation. I get to walk into any conflict and be peace. JD went to a party yesterday, and he came home and he told this story. And this is why I love Unity and why I love that my kids are being raised in it. So JD's with our kids at a party at the little one's daycare. And two boys are fighting over a box, where the box is going to go. It's going to pull it back and forth. And they've both got their hands on the box. And Roma walks up to them and says, okay, on a count to three, and on the count of three, both of you are going to let go of the box. So she went, 1, 2, 3, and they dropped the box. And she said, okay, now, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You get to decide where the box is going to go. And the whole fight was diffused, and a 4-year-old did it. A 4-year-old. It's like radiating peace is something that we get to be when we let go of our agendas, right? And to want it, to be it, to practice it, to celebrate it. When we can let go of what we think, what we imagine it should be like, we move into what really could be. Imagine what the world could be. How peaceful the world could be if we could let go of this agenda that we always walk around with. Our righteousness. Let's take that to our meditation.